Some people sit down at the end of the day and their body keeps standing anyway. You loosen your shoes and you notice the lamp cord lying still beside the sofa, yet your chest does not follow it. The room goes quiet, and somehow that is when the real work begins. Why does rest feel harder right when nothing is happening? Sensitivity often looks soft from the outside, but inside it behaves like constant measuring. In the light, the metal clasp of a wristwatch looks colder than it should, and your mind keeps reading tiny changes the way other people read headlines. If your system is built to catch signals early, how quickly can it truly stand down? The quiet mistake is easy to miss. You run a thumb around the damp ring left by a coaster, and the quiet part becomes obvious. Stopping your body's easy. Stopping your watchfulness is not. At the self-checkout, nothing dramatic happens. You scan bread, tap the screen, and then freeze over one tiny mismatch. The green button glows through the scanner glass, and your hand hovers like one wrong tap could spill into the whole evening. Other people would fix it in seconds. You are already feeling tomorrow lean over the edge of tonight. Why does a small snag borrow so much space? Part of the strain comes from being easy to affect and hard to reset. In the elevator mirror, a loose tie corner shifts when someone exhales beside you, and your body records it before your mind names it. You leave simple moments carrying extra weather, and later people only see the calm face that survived them. Picture a family table where nobody is openly fighting. A joke lands a little crooked, a pause lasts one beat too long, and you catch the fork tines flashing under the kitchen light as if they know it too. By dessert, you are no longer eating the meal. You are managing the temperature of the room. Have you noticed how tiring invisible jobs can be? Relaxing asks for one thing sensitive people rarely get, a clean signal that the environment is settled. You run a finger along the zipper, teeth of a hanging coat, and even that tiny line feels finished. People are not like that. They shift, hint, hesitate, and your system keeps leaning forward. Night should help, but often it makes the pattern clearer. You lie down, pull the blanket higher, and stare at the bedsheet seam, catching hallway light across your knee. The day is over, yet your mind starts replaying faces, tones, missed meanings, little unfinished signals. Did I sound cold? Did they go quiet for a reason? Was that text shorter than usual? By midnight, rest has turned into review. This is the exhausting trade. You can sense more, but you also have more to settle. In the bathroom light, the toothbrush cup rim shines clean and still. Your nerves are neither of those things yet. That is why being told to just relax can feel weirdly lonely. Across a cafe table, condensation slips down an iced cup while a friend says you think too much. Maybe, but maybe you are also carrying more unfinished impressions than they are. What sounds like overthinking is often delayed landing. There is another quiet layer. Rest removes distraction, and distraction was doing part of the job. You turn over a laundry tag in your fingers, and the empty minutes suddenly make room for every small feeling that got stacked all day. No wonder the couch can feel less like relief and more like exposure. Sometimes you finally get home, heat food, and promise yourself one easy hour. Then a message arrives with no obvious problem in it. You watch the laptop hinge catch a thin strip of orange light, and your body starts reopening files you were trying to close. You are not only reading one text, you are reading tone, timing, history, and possible fallout. That is continued duty. Sensitive people often mistake quiet for safety, but they are not the same. On the chair, the folded edge of a blanket sits exactly where you left it, and that kind of order feels soothing. Safety is deeper. Safety is when nothing inside you is still waiting to respond. Can a silent room give that by itself? You see this in shared spaces all the time. Someone else can leave work at work, while you keep carrying the day home in small pieces. The plastic sheen of an office badge swings once against a coat, and even that leftover motion says it clearly. Your body has not clocked out when the calendar did. On Saturday evening, a message appears asking if you want to come out. It is a kind message. Nobody is pressuring you. Still, you stare at the hairline crack near the edge of your phone screen and feel two kinds of tiredness at once. One part wants connection. The other part calculates noise, faces, pace, recovery time, and the cost of missing one small signal. Why does even a nice invitation sometimes feel expensive? Neither weakness nor rudeness explains it. You notice the paper curl of a fresh receipt on the counter, and the answer gets simple. Your system treats easing off like unfinished business. A better way to see it is this. Sensitivity is not a flaw in rest. It is an early warning habit that stayed on too long. You touch the cool window latch before bed, and the idea becomes easier to hold. What if your body is not refusing peace? What if it has not yet received the all clear? That is why the first step is not forcing deep calm. First, reduce incoming signal. Fewer tabs, softer light, one task closed all the way. In the corner, the lampshade fabric looks warmer after the overhead light goes off, and your system finally has fewer moving pieces to sort. Rest begins when the amount of reading goes down. Second, give rest a clear ending shape. Sensitive minds resist vague states. You slide a drawer shut and feel its wooden track meet the frame without bounce. That kind of clean finish matters. A short walk, 1 page, 10 quiet minutes. Small containers feel safer than endless open space. A lot can change with a tiny ritual. One person comes home, washes their face, makes tea, and sits by the window for exactly 1 song length without answering anyone. The wet tea string darkens against the cup, and nothing miraculous happens. But the body learns a sequence it can trust. Over time, that repeated edge becomes a signal. You may soften now. It also helps to stop treating relaxation like total surrender. Maybe you do not need full peace tonight. Maybe you need 10% less bracing. You smooth the ridge of a folded towel with your palm, and the idea becomes gentler. Partial rest still counts. A softer jaw still counts. When sensitive people finally relax, it usually does not arrive as bliss. It arrives as less checking, less comparing, less leaning toward every possible shift. You watch the shadow of a paperback corner settle across the cushion, and your breathing stops negotiating with the room. Quiet starts to feel like space instead of a test. Maybe that is the real question. Not why you are bad at resting, but what your body still believes it must watch. You hold a transit card under the hallway light and realize how often the day trained you to stay ready. If readiness became normal, would softness even feel trustworthy at first? If relaxing feels strangely hard, that does not always mean you are doing rest wrong. You glance at the curtain hem barely moving near the floor, and the answer becomes kinder. Some people need a little more proof before they can unclench. That proof can be built.